Okay, let's talk about visas in Germany and specifically this time about the language visa. The language visa is meant for people who want to come to Germany to learn the German language. So you cannot come to Germany with a language visa with the purpose of learning English or Spanish or Italian. It needs to be German at a language school, and it needs to be an intensive German course. That means that it needs to be at least 18 lessons per week, 18 hours of lessons per week that you attend. There are special intensive German courses at language schools that fulfill those requirements. That visa is then valid for up to 1 year. That is the maximum amount of time you can stay in Germany with that visa for the purpose of learning the language. Next to being enrolled in an intensive German course, you also need to showcase that you have enough financial funds to cover your living expenses while in Germany, because you are not allowed to work in Germany while on the language visa. That is not allowed. So if you would stay for 1 year, let's say, you would need to show that you have enough money for 1 year, and that is like if you would come here for studying, you would have to show a blocked account with enough money, for example, which would be at the moment 8,640 euros. If you want to learn about a blocked account, there's a separate video and page on the app where you can learn about that. That amount will increase to roughly 10,200 euros in the future. So this is the amount of money you need to have for 1 year. If you're staying shorter than 1 year, then you would need the appropriate proportion of that money for your stay. And you also need health insurance in order to get the visa. So these are the things you need to have in place: the enrollment, the official confirmation of the language school that you have enrolled and you will have paid for the language course. You need to show that you have enough money to cover your living expenses, and you need health insurance. Those are the things that you need to present to the embassy in order to get the language visa. And once you come to Germany, you have to transfer that language visa or convert it into a residence permit for the purpose of learning the language. If you are from the US, Canada, Australia, Japan, New Zealand, South Korea, or Israel, you can come to Germany directly and apply directly for the residence permit for the purpose of learning a language without having to apply for a visa beforehand. So these are the general requirements that you need to get a language visa. I want to talk now about what scenarios you have and where it applies the best to get the language visa. Number one, if you want to learn the language and then afterwards return to your home country and continue what you did, the language visa is perfect. It allows you to learn the language here in Germany. You practice your language in everyday life as well, not just in school. So you have a lot more practice and you are much better in German. So that could be an application if you maybe need German in your job at home and you want to really use the time you learn German to the fullest by actually coming here and getting the full experience. That could be an application, or you want to come here and then in some years again apply to university in Germany or come here to work in Germany. So anytime you want to come here, learn the language and then go back, language visa is the perfect solution for you. Number two, you want to come to Germany, learn the language, apply for university, and once you get accepted, you are okay with going back to your country and then applying for visa again with the purpose for studying and then coming back to Germany, and then taking into consideration that this going back and reapplying will cost some time and money and might have the risk of you not making the enrollment deadline of the university. If that is something that is okay for you, then the language visa is also right or okay for you, because the language visa cannot be converted, transferred into any other visa or any residence permit. It can only be a language visa, it can only be used to learn the language. If there's any purpose for which you want to stay in the country, you cannot convert it. You have to go back and then reapply for another visa. Exceptions to this, again, are those 7 countries, like always: US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, South Korea, Israel. If you're from those countries, you can stay in Germany and convert it flexibly while staying in the country. So a that is or not converted, but you can apply for a residence permit here in Germany. So there's an advantage if you're from those countries. For any other country, you need to go back and then reapply for a new visa if you want to then continue studying and you've been accepted into a program. So if that procedure is okay for you, then the language visa is also okay for you. Number three, closely connected to number two, if you want to stay in Germany after you have learned the language visa and then continue studying without having to go back to your country and then reapplying for a new visa, then the language visa is not the right visa for you because, like I said, it cannot be converted. It is a language visa. So in that case, you should look into getting this study preparation visa. There's a separate video and page on the app where the study preparation visa is explained. There is a little bit more that you need to have in order to get it in most of the times, but it also then can be used to learn the language here in Germany. And as soon as you get an admission from a university or an admission to a Studienkolleg, you can convert it into a residence permit for the purpose of studying or extend your residence permit for the purpose of study preparation. So the study preparation visa is a lot more flexible. So if you want to learn the language and then stay in Germany to continue your academic career, the language visa is not the right visa for you because it will force you to go back to your country and then reapply and you will lose time. So in that case, the study preparation visa would be more advisable for you to get. Number four, when Number four, you want to learn the language, look for jobs, and then once you've found a job, you want to stay in Germany and continue working in that job. If that is the case, then the language visa is also not the perfect visa for you because, as I said, the language visa cannot be converted into anything else. So if you found a job, you would have to go back to your country and then reapply for a new visa and then a residence permit for the purpose of working in Germany. Usually, if you did find a job and you found an employer who wants you, they would be okay with you by going back and then re-entering the country, even though it would take some time. If a company already said that they want to employ you, they would be willing usually to wait that time. If they wouldn't be willing, then I would doubt the intention of the companies anyway. So if you did find a job and you don't want to go back to your home country and then re-enter, and the language visa is not the right one for you. If that's okay for you, if that scenario is something that you say, yes, that would be cool for me, then the language visa is possible because then you would go out and reapply for a new visa and a new residence permit, and then the company would just have to wait for you a little while. But if you consider if you would be coming from a different company, they would have to wait for you anyways too, even if you were in Germany, because it would take time until you can terminate your contract and switch over to them. So if that scenario is okay for you, then the language visa is the right one for you. If not, then the language visa is not the right one for you. Number five, if you want to learn the language here in Germany and then find a job and then immediately continue working in the job without having to leave the country, then the language visa is not the right one for you, but the job seeker visa might be. However, this might not be the best use of the job seeker visa, and I'll tell you why. The job seeker visa, on the one hand, gives you the flexibility to just change it into a residence permit if you found a job and you don't have to leave the country. You can do that, switch that conversion within Germany. At the same time, the job seeker visa is there for you to find a job. So you should put your energy towards finding a job and going to interviews and those kinds of things. So if you want to use the job seeker visa to come to Germany to learn a language, that is okay, that is possible. It would take away some time from you from your job hunt if you would learn the language, and that would maybe not be the most effective use of your job seeker visa. However, if that is something that you're okay with, that scenario, then well, the language visa would obviously not work for you, but in that case, you could use the job seeker visa to learn the language and then continue your stay here in Germany and immediately work in Germany without having to leave the country. So I hope this video gave you some insights on what the language visa is, what you need for it, and what the different scenarios are in which you can apply it, and which scenarios you might want to look at other options, other visas to get. And I hope that this gave you some inspiration to come to Germany to learn the language, and then also give you the inspiration to take a journey into actually coming here to Germany for a longer period of time.